Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about sorry, I hate that when I record these for a long period of time because I usually typically record like all three at once. You know, all the podcasts that I do, I usually record them all at once. It's like after a while, my brain kind of fizzles out for talking for so freaking long because I'm not used to doing it for a long period of time. So, anyway, moving on. This week's episode, I loved the fact is we had Winona like walking in on Dolls him working out, being all sweaty and everything, and she's like, "Here's your shirt. Put your coffee on." And she's just, I can't concentrate. It's just like, wow, you look like a horny teenager staring at him like that. Calm down. Put it back in your pants, Winona. We ended up meeting a judge in this episode, kind of seems like a bit of an asshole, very suspicious, who ended up kind of like, because essentially Dolls wanted to kind of keep a good relationship with him, because essentially they wanted to kind of legitimize what the Black Badge is doing in town, you know, kind of doing what Winona's doing, just kind of make it a little more legitimate and legal. They ended up raiding Bobo's camp, trying to essentially find some boxes they brought in. They were thinking it was kind of weapons, because they want to essentially prove Bobo to be a criminal. He's kind of, you know, kept his criminalness to a low. We end up finding out essentially that what from what I can only assume is because of what we saw later in the episode. I think it's a pretty nice assumption to make. It's boxes / crates they were bringing in are the bones we see, and apparently it's him doing it for the Stone Witch, which we finally get to meet her. We get to put a face to the name. Her name's Constance. It seems like she's wicked powerful though. Making Bobo her bitch. Essentially, like, it seems like she was talking about the fact is that Bobo needs to help her bring them back or whatever. I can only assume, I could be wrong, but I can only assume those are her children, which, because of her long history with Doc, it makes me wonder, could they be Doc's children? I don't know, because I think they have a long history together. Like, it's more than just her making him the way he is, because that is why he wants revenge, because it ended up coming up, the fact is, he wants her dead because he wants her to pay for making him into this monster that he is. He's not a revenant, nor is he human, technically, anymore. And there's those bones, like, I only assume they're, her children, maybe. I find it very interesting. The fact is that the Stone Witch is in charge. I thought Bobo was in charge and she was just helping him. It's like, no, she runs this game, and so Bobo's just kind of tagged along. It even comes up at she's like, why didn't you tell me that Doc Holliday was around? And essentially Bobo was like, and why didn't you tell him, like, essentially saying why she's so scared of him. And it's like, is she scared of him? Like, the way she handled him at the Black Badge office, I wasn't so sure. She froze him like that. She was saying some stuff. I was like, I don't know. Like, it's very interesting. And we also found out about what actually happens to Revenant to cross the line between, like, you know, what's got the line that's got them separated, the border that, you know, keeps them trapped. And essentially, it looks like it melts their skin. Like, essentially, they kind of go through here. They're filled with intense pain, and their skin starts burning off. Essentially, Doc left him there, kind of. He was burned, you know. The guy got like that because of being there for a long period of time, and ended up his skin was melting off. He even chewed off his own foot trying to drag his way back across the border. You know, essentially, because I was under the assumption that they died. No, they just go through extremely excruciating pain. He got messed up bad. His body, like, he looked like he was literally set on fire. Like, it's just incredible. Like, I just assumed, I knew it did some pretty bad stuff, and I said that from the beginning when we saw that. I was like, oh yeah, he definitely, you know, ended up, the guy that Doc had dragged away because Bobo ordered it. But I was like, man, it looked like he got pretty messed up. I was so sure he was dead, but nope. Found out he's been alive this entire time. It's just like in excruciating pain. I mean, to the point he chewed his own foot off just to get away. And we also had an interesting conversation between Bobo and Waverly, because Waverly's trying to understand why he chose her all those years ago. And essentially he says there's some anger inside of her. She's like, I'm not angry. What are you talking about? He's like, me and you, neither one of us knows just the depths of that. And it's just like, there's something that's going to go down with that. Just, I don't know, like, because it does seem like Waverly is angry about everything. It does, especially because this whole, heir situation, like wanting to be the heir, but it ended up being Winona. She kind of forgave her last episode, but it's like, I don't know, maybe there's something deeper in it that we just don't know about that's connected to Waverly's past. But I feel like, in some shape or form, I feel like Waverly or Willa are going to be used against Winona. I just don't know how. Especially Willa, because it's like, I don't know, like, she's dead maybe, but I feel like somehow that's going to come back to bite Winona in the ass. I mean, we see her in this episode kind of being tortured by it. I mean, that's why she's trying so hard to kill the Seven, because it's just like because it's like, she even kind of brings it up, because even Waverly asked, does she ever have earrings? And Winona kind of had to take a second. It's like, yeah. It's like, essentially, so much time has passed that they're kind of almost forgetting their sister. They don't almost remember what they look like. Granted, there was, dolls gave, because they had stole some files earlier. Because basically there was a picture that showed the Seven Revenant that were involved with her, Willa's death, as well as her dad, and the ones that came for her dad and took Willa away. And Dolls gave it to her. She's like, "Can I?" And they said, "Yeah," because it was a picture of her, all three of the girls together when they were younger. So it's like a very nice picture. It gives her, her and Waverly a more clear picture of what Willa looked like. But we also had the fact is that we have. Apparently, it never really crossed my mind that it was a thing, but Winona is killing people. Granted, they're Revenant, but it's still her killing people, and it's something she's not used to, because even Waverly's like, you pretend like it doesn't bother, because it's like she's cracking jokes, she's acting all normal, but it's like, it is taking its toll on her. She even had to torture a Revenant to kind of get some information out of him, and the real messed up thing is that he was using her dad's voice to kind of mock her and everything. I was just like, man, dealing that psychological damage. But basically, Winona's kind of talked to Dolls about it. The fact that she kind of doesn't want to go about the way she's been going about things. She doesn't necessarily want to go about the way he's going about them either. I mean, granted, she kind of messed things up early in the episode, kind of going about things her way. And it kind of led to them getting in trouble, because granted, they didn't find anything at Bobo's place, and they couldn't even hold him because his lawyer showed up, which she brought up the fact that you have a lawyer, that lawyer being Constance the Stone, which was very interesting. But we also apparently have, Winona and Doc hooking up was very interesting. Her hooking up with like a 100-plus-year-old man. Very interestingly enough, another reason why he hates the Stone Witch so much is because she basically cast him down into a well for a good long time. So I really don't know how to interpret that. Whether that means that was that something that happened because they kind of had their little relationship issue. Because I'm saying this definitely. You only end up in a situation like that after being scorned by a lover. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it'd be kind of interesting if they did kind of have a bit of a thing in the past. And we also had that thing with the judge who has a picture that Dolls ended up getting developed. He's like, I've seen this picture before, and it's in the judge's office. It's like, the judge has to have something to do with all this. I don't know what. Part of me was thinking maybe he's a Revenant, but it's like, if he was a Revenant, he'd be with Bobo. But he has some connection to all of this. I just don't know exactly what. It didn't really make sense to me. Essentially, it looked like it was the death of a past Earp, and he had that picture too. And I don't know. I'm really confused about the whole thing. But one of my favorite kind of bits in this episode was the fact is that Winona was trying to convince, trying to break in and steal those files, and she ended up, she's trying to seduce the guys. They turn around and turn out to be women, and she's like still trying to see if that works, and it doesn't. So she goes with Plan B and brings Doc in. So that was pretty funny. We had her, like I said, she was trying to do things differently. She wants to kind of do things differently from now on, because she ended up reuniting. I forgot. I think his shorthand name was like Fish or whatever. I don't remember his name is. Apparently, he's someone at Doc News back in the day. Essentially, the guy that Doc had, dragged across the line was his boyfriend, and she kind of, brought them together, because basically they were like, when we get put down by Peacemaker and we come back, let's, meet at space and time. And it was just kind of, I don't know. she kind of showed compassion, and I guess in her mind she's like, maybe she can, before kind of going to like immediately like, oh, put them down, immediately, trying to follow this revenge route, maybe she can try and find another way of dealing with the remnant, try and give them another chance, try to speak to whatever's left of their humanity, something like that. I don't know, very interesting episode, and I'm really interested to see where we go from here. But that's really all I want to talk about in this episode. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, love life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.